What's going on, everyone? So yesterday we talked about Rob Pelinka jumping on a plane headed to Indianapolis, and also that Buddy Hield shortly after posted this tweet. Now, this could be something completely unrelated. Many people think that, well, this is Rob Pelinka. He's going to go watch the Classic in Indianapolis and also meet with the GM for the Pacers, and maybe they could work out a deal, right? Sean Marks and Rob Pelinka, they met in person before to try to talk out and work out the Kyrie trade. Teams, GMs, guys, they meet up all the time, right? Have dinners and stuff and conversations, and sometimes it amounts to something, sometimes it amounts to nothing. Now, this doesn't mean confirmation. Even if they do meet and talk, this doesn't mean that they'll work out a deal. But if they were to work out a deal, big question is, does Buddy Hield and Myles Turner really make the Lakers a true contender? Now, I have no doubts that it makes the Lakers much better, right? That has never been a doubt in my mind, that the Lakers will be better. I do have a lot of concerns, though, with Buddy Hield and Myles Turner coming to the Lakers. One, that's basically your team. Buddy Hield, Myles Turner, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis for at least the next 2, maybe even longer years. Myles Turner has had trouble playing with big men in the past. He wants $20+ million, and if you're the Lakers, you have to give it to him because you just traded everything to go get this guy. You have no flexibility, no nothing. It's basically those four and a bunch of vet minimum guys all over again. You could probably say goodbye to Walker. You could probably say goodbye to Austin Reeves. You could probably say goodbye to a lot of the young guys that we really like on this team, and you're basically stuck in this position with these guys. And if they're not good enough, well, you're kind of screwed for the next several years rather than just 1 year. Also, Myles Turner has been very injury prone over his career, and if he gets injured, well, then again, you're in trouble. Now, the positive side is like Buddy Hield next to LeBron James is probably the perfect player, right? Just a lights out, dead eye 3-point shooter. Really provide the scoring punch. Now, defensively, he's terrible, and I don't think he solves all of the Lakers' three-point shooting woes, but I think he definitely helps. My other concern is he has never played in a playoff game. So how is he going to perform on the big stage in the big moment? That's something we've never seen with him. But I do think he could come in and make a real impact. Myles Turner, he wants to play the 5. He likes to play the 5, stretch big, great defender. You probably have the best defensive bigs in the league with Anthony Davis. My concern, though, is that Anthony Davis is not shooting the ball well. See, it worked in the bubble year because Anthony Davis was like lights out, right? He was knocking everything down from 3-point range, from mid-range, you name it. Problem is he hasn't been this year, and if he's going to play the 4, we need him to stretch the floor and shoot. If he can't, we're in trouble. Also, this trade does not solve our wing depth issue. Our biggest issue is guarding the perimeter. And Anthony Davis playing the 4 is not going to help with that. Sure, he can make things difficult. He can stay in front of guys from time to time, but he's not a guy that you want trapped on an island, for 48 minutes guarding perimeter type players. That's another real concern. But if it does work, then I do think that this is a team that no one want to see, no one want to face off against, right? You also have to keep in mind the production. This is something else that a lot of people I don't feel take into account. Like right now, Russell Westbrook is giving you like 16, 6, and 6, right? Well, Myles Turner doesn't really help tremendously with our rebounding. Rebounding has been a big issue this year for the Lakers. He's a 7 rebound guy. You're basically trading a 6, 7 rebound guy for another 7 rebound guy, right? Russ is also giving you about, 16, 17 points a game, which is what Myles Turner is basically giving you. So you're basically just swapping Russell Westbrook for Myles Turner as far as production. Because Russ is giving you the rebounds, the assists, the defense on the perimeter. He's been great all season playing solid defense. You lose your perimeter defense. You lose a guy that can give you, 16, 7, and 7, a guy that's coming off the bench. So now your bench production could be a problem, could be a big trouble. But you're basically getting the same production you're getting from Russell Westbrook, minus the assists in Myles Turner. And then Buddy Hield's coming in. Buddy Hield is hopefully the piece that makes you that much better, right? So it's just something to keep in mind is that, it's not like we're adding these two to Russell Westbrook to where it's like, man, okay, we got, a 16, 7, and 7 guy coming off the bench, and then we are adding Myles Turner and Buddy Hield, right? You're basically trading one of your most productive players this season for 2 guys that are, slightly more productive than them. But you are adding depth, you are adding shooting, you are adding another big man so Davis can play the 4. Also, you can, it gives you a little insurance for Davis. So there are definitely pros and cons when you look at this deal, when you look at this trade. And again, I'm not completely against it. You just have to weigh all options, especially Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka has to look at the full picture. He can't just look at like what could the best result be. He has to look at what could the best result be, what is the average result, what is the most likely result, and what is the absolute bottom of the barrel result. And the bottom of the barrel result is this team isn't very good and we're in trouble. I just look at the roster and I think like the bright side of getting Buddy Hield and Myles Turner is now your starting five is Walker, Hield, LeBron, Davis, and Turner. That is arguably one of, if not the best starting fives front to back in the entire league. Walker has been that good for us. He has been arguably our third best player all season. So you get him, you have Buddy Hield for the dead-eye shooting, you got LeBron James, you got Anthony Davis, and you got Myles Turner. Problem is now you are really putting a lot of defensive pressure on LeBron James in that starting lineup. Buddy Hield can play no defense. LeBron James at 38 years old is going to have to play great defense because he's your one perimeter guy, right? Because Walker's going to be likely guarding the best player on the other team as he's done all season, and he's been doing a solid job. But now LeBron's probably got to guard their second best player, and then you have Davis trying to chase perimeter guys. The defense is my real concern. But what it also does is it makes guys like, Dennis Schroeder, who's coming back, Thomas Bryant. Hopefully they can come in and make a real impact. But Austin Reeves, Troy Brown, a lot of our guys that are playing starter minutes, even Patrick Beverley, those guys that are playing starter minutes now get to fall back into the bench role and hopefully can be more productive. Because, like Troy Brown is just, you want to talk about consistency. That guy has given us like 9 to 10 points every single game. You go look at all his games, it's like 10 points every single game, like to the number. So hopefully that 10 points you have coming off the bench. Austin Reeves has really stepped up his scoring lately. Maybe you could get him, especially if you don't have Russ. Maybe he comes in and he could be your, 12 to 15 point a game guy. Maybe through committee, we could have a better bench unit and get us 30 points. Because, you got to figure that with Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, you got two guys which, as great as they have played, another thing you have to keep in mind is that they're not going to be as good as they were on Indiana. Because they're going from the number 1 and 2 option in most cases to the number 3 or 4 option. So their percentages and their scoring is going to take a hit, right? But let's say they can get us around 25 to 30 points a game between the two of them. LeBron and Anthony Davis are going to get you about, 45 to 50. So let's just call that 70 points right there between those four. Walker, if he can continue to give you about 15 a game, 16 a game. So there you go. Now you're at like 85 points. We're going to need at least 30 to 40 points per game off the bench. Can we do that between Reeves, Troy Brown, Dennis Schroeder, Thomas Bryant, Damian Jones? Kendrick Nunn has just became like unplayable. Winning Gabriel stuff. I think they can, but can they do it night in and night out? Like, I do think that the bench unit could come in and give you, they could give you 30 to maybe even 50 one night. But can they consistently night in and night out? That's a big concern. That's a big question you have to think of too. This is why I really like the Spurs deal. Because the Spurs deal, one, gives you a guy like Doug McDermott who can come off the bench. So now your starting five is Walker, Richardson, Jakob Poeltl, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. I think that five is arguably just as good. It might even be more balanced than the team you have. Because now you have Josh Richardson and you have, Walker, both great length-sized defenders that can guard multiple. So now the defensive end is going to be better. I think they both can give you the same kind of production. Jakob Poeltl, his numbers aren't too far off from Myles Turner. The only difference is he's not the shooter and floor spacer that Myles Turner is. But beyond this, you also get a trade exception. That trade exception you could use to go get another piece. So now you're basically rehauling your roster. So I still believe the Spurs trade is the better trade in my opinion, but I'm not against the Indiana Pacers trade. I think the Indiana Pacers trade might I think the Indiana Pacers trade has the more potential to be a bigger impact trade, right? Like, I think those two guys may have the potential to make a bigger impact if everything goes right. If it works perfectly, I think that that's the better impact trade. But I think the Spurs trade give you much more, give you the same type of production, but gives you much more margin for error because you're likely getting two more guys that can come in and be rotation and bench guys. So now you're not reliant on second year Austin Reeves to give you 12 points a game off the bench, or Patrick Beverley playing terrible, stuff like that. And you could still take Kendrick Nunn and Patrick Beverley and maybe go do another smaller deal. And now you got a fifth guy. Right? Like, I just think the Spurs deal is the key to basically getting a roster rehaul, where I think the Pacers deal may have the more, star level impact, right? Like, one of the things that I talk about with Kyrie Irving and like why I would like Kyrie on the Lakers so much, Kyrie Irving's impact is just so great. Like, he is so skilled, so talented, able to completely take over games that he's a better option than Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. Yes, Buddy Hield and Myles Turner both do very different things, but Kyrie Irving by himself, like LeBron James and Anthony Davis could take a night off, and Kyrie's good enough to just go win you a game by himself, right? And just completely take over games, close out in the clutch, stuff like that. The one thing Buddy Hield and Myles Turner don't do is they don't give you that closer, that just pure natural scorer. Like, Buddy Hield is a shooter. He's not really a natural scorer. He's not a guy that can put the ball in the hoop, go get a bucket, make a plays for himself, go get a easy bucket. No, he's more of like, gets the ball, catch, shoot, boom, knocks down the three, right? Myles Turner, same thing. He's going to block shots. He's going to play defense. You can dump the ball. You can spread the floor. You can do a lot of things, but you still don't have that go-to closer. That's a real concern for me. So ideally, if the Lakers do pull this deal off, I would love to see the Lakers go get Terry Rozier. I really would. Because Terry Rozier, unless Kyrie gets bought out. If Kyrie gets bought out, then obviously Kyrie. But we can't count on that. You could make an argument that, like, you take Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn, take them to the Hornets and say, look, you're tanking, you're not very good this year. You have 4 years, $100 million on Terry Rozier. We'll give you these two in like a couple seconds so you get something for him, and we'll take on that salary. You're clearing your books. You're clearing off the $100 million in salary. You got to pay, Miles Bridges if you're going to bring him back. You got to pay PJ Washington. You got to pay, LaMelo Ball, all that stuff. So at some point, you're going to have to make decisions. We'll take him off your hands. We'll give you expiring deals so that way salaries match. And we'll give you, a second round pick, or 2 second rounds just to do you the solid, do you the favor. And now you got Terry Rozier, you got Buddy Hield, you got Myles Turner. That to me would be ideal. Because now you have a guy in Terry Rozier who we've seen is just a bucket. He can go and get you a bucket. He can play off the ball. He can play on the ball. He can get to the hoop. He can score. You could have him start. You could have him come off the bench. He's basically a better Kendrick Nunn. Everything that we were hoping Kendrick Nunn could be, we know that Scary Terry could be that guy. And this team really needs a natural scorer, even with Buddy Hield and Myles Turner. And there aren't very many out there that are available that we could get. Terry Rozier, I think, is available, and we could actually get him. That's why I mentioned him. I'm sure there's other people that come to mind that you guys would like more, that you're like, oh, I'd rather have this player or that player. But how obtainable are they really? And very likely, we're giving up both firsts to get Buddy Hield and Myles Turner, which means we have no first-round picks. So what scorer to Terry Rozier's level can actually do what he does, but won't cost you a first-round pick? I mean, I don't even know for sure if Terry Rozier wouldn't, but it does make sense. Look, you're moving off $100 million in salary. You got to pay all your young guys, and we're giving you some second rounds, right? Like, you're getting something. How many teams are going to go and trade, for Terry Rozier? Or maybe you give a pick swap or something like that. But anyway, I'm not against Myles Turner and Buddy Hield coming to the Lakers. I'm not at all. But I still have my concerns that they're enough to take us over the top. But as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that this is enough? Do you think it's not? Do you think that, no, like if we did this deal, we'd have to do more moves? Problem is, if we do this deal, we're very limited. Very limited. Because we're, again, likely going to have to give up both first. But Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts, opinions. Let me know. Good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Down in the comment section below.